Okay, thank you very much, Tony. As you've said, we are the last word in business, and I'm here at the Inland Container Depot in Embakasi with the Kenya Railways Managing Director, Atanus Maina, to just clarify a few issues. Key among them is Kenya able to pay back the loans? How much money are we making from the SGR in terms of revenue? And also the hot topic of discrimination amongst the employees, being the Kenyans and the Chinese. Now, thank you very much, Bwana Maina, for joining us. And let's just start with the latter of those three items, the discrimination allegations by some sections of the media. Yesterday you were in Parliament and the CS said that this issue was under probe by the Ministry of Labour and the report is going to come out by the end of this week. Given a scenario that the Chinese are found culpable of this allegations of discrimination, what action would you take?
Thank you very much. I think the starting point for ourselves in Kenya Railways and on behalf of the people of Kenya would say without doubt is that we would not condone any victimization or any discrimination or racism against Kenyans by Chinese or any other foreigner working with us to deliver our aspirations. So that is one. Two, I must say we've been aware in Kenya Railways that there could be issues relating to cultural integration between the Chinese workers and our people. And this is arising from the fact that, one, the young men and women that we've hired who are about in their 20s, this is the first time they are getting to work. This is the first job that they are doing. Young people, they've not worked in any other environment. And working for the operator, they've done maybe working for a period of about a year. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done as far as integration is concerned. Secondly, for the Chinese employees, these are former employees of China Railway. They've never worked outside China. They've landed here, they've not even done a year. So you expect that in terms of conflict of cultures, that does exist. And it's something that we are working on to bridge them up, bring them up to speed. You will appreciate that this company has been here for over 30 years. We've not had a case of this nature. Secondly, I must say that a lot of things that we saw, we read them in the press. We were not even aware of them. And we believe that maybe some of them may not be true. But having said that, what we at Kenya Railways have done is that we have commissioned an employee satisfaction survey. We are interrogating. We have provided documentation to all the staff. I've just met some of them now, and they have confirmed that they have received the documentation, and I've assured them that they should fill in those documentations truthfully so that we get to the bottom of this issue and also inform how we are going to undertake the integration process. And should we find that any particular person is involved in acts of racism or discrimination, then we are going to take very, very stern action, including the possibility of deporting some of them.
And when it comes to the issue of trying to integrate these two cultures, what are you doing to achieve this? Because I understand even in areas in which they are working in, they have small sections, language barrier being one of the impediments. They cannot communicate, they cannot correlate better. So what are you doing to ensure that this is eradicated?
Thank you. On the whole, there are several things that we are doing. In terms of encouraging language, in terms of languages, we have translators. Two, we have our own people who are studying Chinese, and the Chinese themselves are studying English. So it's a matter of time, and this issue will be gone. Before we became independent, we didn't know English. We had to go through a process of learning. So this is the same thing that is going to happen now. Fortunately, there is a lot of work going on. The Chinese themselves are working very hard to learn the language, especially those who are interacting with customers. We have also agreed in our localization plan in terms of employment of locals. We want our people to be the front-facing people, the technical people in the back office, so that then we can be able to integrate not only our employees, even our customers, with our own people. So that is work that we are working on. In terms of employees' own integration, I am aware that the operator has done a lot in terms of bringing people together. But at these early stages, you will find that even our young men and women prefer to sit together where they can speak their language. The Chinese prefer to sit together where they speak their own language. But there's a matter of time that people will come to accept each other and integrate together.
Moving away from matters discrimination to what you've said, the last bit that you've talked about in terms of management of the railway. Right now, as we are at 2018, we're doing about 76%. Am I correct? Kenyan employees. Yeah. So when are we expected to see full integration in the Chinese handing over the railway and its operations to Kenyans?
There are several things that we are doing in that area. One, you will appreciate that this project was delivered 30 months ahead of schedule. So a lot of things that would be happening now have already somewhat should be happening now as we wait to commence operations. But we've done a lot of training. So far at our Railway Training Institute, we've trained over 1,300 employees, and all of them, including 400 of them, are currently in school. About 900 of them are already working with the contractor. So that is the first step, that we have trained them. They didn't know anything railway. They have been trained and are now going through job training to become railway operators. The second thing that we are doing, we have students in China, 100 of them, studying in Beijing Jiaotong University, in all railway courses, from railway engineering, civil engineering, from communication and signaling, from traffic management. The first lot of that will finish college next year, and their place will be working for operations. Those students know Chinese, they studied English, they are professionals. They will come and start taking up some of the key positions. The contract that we have with the operator is a 10-year contract, and currently we are at 76%. We want by the year 2020, 2022, the year 2022, we expect to be at 90%, which includes now the very top senior management, and only 10% of those should be Chinese. And going towards 2027, when the contract comes to an end, we should have 100% local working for the railway.
Thank you very much for that clarification. And the last issue on the SGR, is it making money, and when will we start seeing the SGR starting to pay its own loan? Because as you said, or rather as you mentioned yesterday, the railway line by December this year, we're expecting to have around 12 trains between Nairobi and Mombasa.
The best place to start on that question is 4 years ago, we were saying that this project won't happen. It has happened. I think the next task for us, we said it has a design life for 100 years. If it has to subsist for 100 years, it must be sustainable, and it must be able to spur the economic growth that we look at as a country. In normal business, commercial activities, a business normally turns around, becomes profitable. We talk about a period of about 5 years, 5 years. What we are doing with SGR is we are targeting that the first 18 months, we should be in a position to have break even, and will be a surplus, or about 5 billion shillings. And that is our target. Why do we think we'll be able to make it? Is because currently the capacity that we intend to deploy by December will be about 12 trains running in both directions, 12. And that is to say, we have capacity, with those 12 trains, they have capacity to move up to 10 million tons per annum. And that cargo is available at the port. With the tariffs that we have proposed to put in place, we believe that with the numbers, the revenue-wise, will beat way below, will reduce what we now calling, what we are shouting very big, as a very big number, the amount of we pay to the operator for operations. And I need to say that the 1 billion shillings that has been shouted about, this is not cash that we give to China Road and Bridge to take to the bank. No, this is the amount of money which, even if Kenya Railways was running this project, possibly would spend more. It entails maintenance of the infrastructure, maintenance of the equipment, maintenance of all the facilities, including buildings, salaries to employees, power, if you have to pay power, diesel. That is what we are talking about, that every aspect of the operation that you see when you take a train is funded by the money that we are talking about. And we believe that come December next year, we'll be in a very good place. We'll be in a surplus position, and the projections that we have going through to year 2022, we should even be able to meet our loan obligations. And the cargo is available. Okay,
thank you very much. Tony, now if my cameraman could just pan to my left a bit, there's a new facility by KRA that scans all containers coming through the ICD in less than 10 seconds. Maybe one MD could just highlight this in less than a minute. What is this facility about, and how is it going to help clear up the port?
One of the commitments that KRA gave to His Excellency the President was the ability to clear cargo within 6 hours from the time it gets into ICD to the time it gets out. The only way that can be achieved And in order to protect our revenue, tax revenue, is for them to make sure that they have the verification of cargo. Any doubtful cargo is done quickly. This equipment here is state of the art. A truck, it has no human interaction. They're able to inspect, 10 seconds it passes through, they're able to tell whether that cargo is clean or it is not. Previously, you had to call all the agencies to come, see it, open up the container, check what is inside. That is a thing of the past. As soon as this infrastructure, the equipment you see here, is installed.
Tony, that was the Kenya Railways Managing Director, MD Atanus Maina. He was just clarifying a few issues to do with the running and maintenance of the standard gauge railway and also the allegations of discrimination. Remember that that report is expected to be published this week, by end of this week, by the Ministry of Labour, that is CS Ukuru Yatani. We will be keeping an eye out for that. I'll hand over back to you, Tony. We will keep you up to date on this particular story as we continue. Back to you, Tony.